everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know who this is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podacst. The podcast, Rolling Stone Magazine says, initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists, allowing fans to discover the creative workflow of their favorite musicians and understand the factors that make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are also sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs. Get $100 off your entire bill using the code CPPOD at darkfusionsystems.com. Links are for the podcast below. Now let's go to our feature presentation. Have you heard of the band Extol from Norway? Yeah, the band is about 30 years old. Well, Peter from the band Extol has a new project with a producer from Australia who mostly does hip-hop named John. Yes, this band is now called InTheosis. It's a brand new thing, and we have Peter on the podcast now to talk about how him and John got together and created this, how they make the music with an stressed importance on actually having something genuine to say behind it. But the key is we talk about the meaning of life and how that all plays into what InTheosis is and what that all makes sense when it comes to the music. What is that meaning of life? It's one word, and you'll discover it right about now. Are you ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. You know you like metal music. Of course you do. That's why you're here. You're here to find some of the best metal bands out there and discover some of the best new of these metal bands that you might not know who they are, but it's the perfect place to get to know them so that you can brag to your friends that you knew them before they did. And this is the perfect one for it. So coming all the way to us from Norway with the brand new band InTheosis, please welcome Peter. So Peter, welcome to Chord Progression Podcast.
Thank you, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you on. Man, how are you doing today? Honestly, because new band, 2 singles out there right now, getting a lot of love and support from some big publications out there. I mean, life's got to be feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been a really, really flying start, I think. I guess we're going to dive more into that. But as of now, I feel good. I feel really good. It's it's such a good feeling to sort of start a new band again. I mean, I'm 44 years old and I get to start a new band. That's crazy.
It's like getting to start over, like once again, getting a whole new fresh start in life, but while also having lived a whole life up to that point, even in music as well. And you get to try different things. There's no random expectations put on you when it comes to this band. You get to do whatever you want, have a blast with it, and whatever happens is whatever happens, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you're spot on. That's what I really enjoyed about this project. Being able to just do whatever I want without any expectations. That's because I mean, with my other metal band, Extol, obviously we've been going since 1994 and released 5 full-length albums, EPs, toured all over the world. Of course, there are expectations, but now with InTheosis, it's me and John living in Australia on the other side of the world, and we can do whatever we want to, and that's awesome.
You can do whatever you want. It's like bringing a brand new baby into the world, and it's, what is this baby going to be? Is he going to be a rock star? Is he going to be a football star? Is he going to, just work in an office? Is he going to be a president of some country somewhere? Who knows? What's it going to sound like? Who knows? But that's the beauty of it. You guys get to discover what you want to do, and us as fans get to be along for the ride as well and not know what's coming next and just be open to the experience. That's always a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. And again, you're spot on. I mean, when John and I started talking about this project, it all started basically. He helped me out with another project that I have called Rada, which is much more like I would call it like cinematic progressive pop rock-ish. And he did some production for me on a couple of songs there last year. And then I knew he liked metal, but he works as a hip hop producer. That's his day job. But I knew he's a metalhead from that's what he's raised with. So we just started talking, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been wanting to do a metal project for a long time, but I haven't really gotten to it." And I was like, "Okay, let's do it." But at that time. And frankly, it's not that many months ago. It's quite recent that we had these first talks, and it's like, okay, so yeah, let's play some metal together. What's that going to look like? I don't know. Let's just try writing send some stuff back and forth and see what happens. And then quite quickly, this first song, Mysteria, which was our first single a couple of months ago, materialized, and we're like, oh, okay, now we're on a nice track here, with this sort of kind of like modern, quite, catchy, but also got some progressive things going on there. Yeah, so I really dig the direction we're going in with this project.
It's a really cool direction, not gonna lie, especially when you get together with someone who always wanted to jump into the metal world, but never really had the chance to. If for in someone like John. And the reason I think about that is because, especially from a producer side, his whole entire mindset from a professional setting when he's working with the artists that he works with is to bring them out in the best sense of what's going to hit in those pop sensibilities. What are the intricacies in there that are going to make these moments shine? They're going to make these hooks really sink in. That are going to make these light spots really glow. It's going to make these darker spots really hit you in the feels. But when it comes to trying to work on a metal side, now it's on your end, you've been working in this for over 30 years at this point. So you know that what you can do with metal, you know what these pieces are, you know how these sounds work. But from John's side, with the eagerness to learn about that, but bringing in other knowledge from another genre, another type of genre as well, you're seeing different possibilities of what can be brought out and like what can be done with different vocal patterns, what can be experimented with different riffs, what can be experimented with different tones, just to really maximize out on the heaviness that you want to bring, but also certain flows, certain pop melodies, certain more melodic things. There's a lot that can be done here, and it's a great idea because mixing both those together, you both get to discover brand new things, brand new ideas, and you're coming from such embedded places of other knowledge where it's just finally those get to intertwine, and you get to actually create something that is coming from two different places but meshing together into one. That's when the beauty of music comes in, when so many different things come together, so many influences come together, and a final product comes out that is distinctly yours.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, just being able to, of course, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you're too different. You can't work together. You can't find that common ground. But with me and John, we really have. And as you say, his way of approaching things in a much more, like, I mean, he's really used to producing quite popular mainstream stuff when it comes to hip hop and other things he's done as well. But I really love those good pop melodies. It's something I always strive to to find, and this project just allows us to sort of dive into that and find those really catchy stuff, catchy melodies, catchy riffs, but still trying to make it a little bit progressive. And so I think this combination is really good, and so happy with the songs we made so far.
Yeah, I like the combination of it too. And one other interesting thing that I have to ask about is, so you're over there in Norway, you're in one part of the world and one northern part of the northern hemisphere. John's all the way in Australia, southern part of the southern hemisphere. You're essentially worlds away at this point. And I know since the pandemic, since a lot of bands at that time were forced to do everything remote, it's gotten a lot easier and a lot more normalized to work with people from all across the world and share files online and how to create music, work together, and inspire each other through a screen or through text. How do you guys work together in that capacity? Again, being so far away from each other, literally worlds away.
Yeah, literally. No, we send ideas back and forth. I mean, he is an instrumentalist. I can play some stuff, and I do some instruments here and there. But I mean, in general, he will be the one who sort of puts it all together. Programs the drums, plays the guitars and bass, and yeah. So we'll go a bit back and forth, and I will usually, like, he will come with an idea. I will put my vocals and start some lyrics on top of that, and then I send maybe a suggestion for a chorus to start with, and then he'll be like, yeah, thumbs up or thumbs down, and he will send an idea to me, and I'll like, yeah. But I usually like the stuff he makes, and he usually likes the stuff I make, and then we just sort of piece by piece put it together until we have a full song. So it's quite efficient, to be honest. One would think that meeting together, like in a rehearsal space or in a studio face to face, is more efficient, but, but I would almost say no, at least from my experience, because when you're sitting there with, like, he has sent something to me, I can sit there in my own tempo. I can sort of dive into it when I have the time, and when I have the time, I'll go all in for this idea,
Hmm.
and then I will do, get the chance to really internalize it, and then do something on top of it. Whilst when you meet in a studio, then obviously it's some great things about meeting face to face for sure. But I enjoy actually this kind of this way of creating music. And even with my other project, the one I just talked about, this cinematic prog pop thing, um, I wrote that last record with a guy who lives 30 minutes from me, but we still worked quite a lot remote anyway. So yeah, I like that. I think even more than meeting sometimes.
I think that's something that not only can other musicians take, and especially the younger ones that are trying to get into this, but anybody else in general, where when you're working with someone or working with people, whether it's in a creative space or in a collaborative space, even if you work like a full-time job, which I still do at this point, it all depends upon how you and those people are going to work best together. If it works best where you can work apart from each other, even if it's, worlds away or even just 30 minutes away, and send things online, so that when you have the time to when you really want to dive into it, you can dive into 100%, do it at your own pace, and let your own creative process work. That is fantastic. It's same thing with my full-time job, because I don't work near anybody else that I work with, because everybody else works in a different country, but we all work together just as well, being as far apart, even more so than we did when I had a whole team I worked with on site here, like in the United States. And I can see where the positiveness of that comes in, because the instant collaboration, the instant exchange of ideas can happen. But then what else can be put into there? Well, you have so many other people together. There's so many other mindsets. The pacings might be different. You might get someone that isn't as fully invested in it at that moment. And then you get some of those goof off moments. Of course, those can be fun. But when you really need to work and you really need to get something done and you need to be all locked in on that, and some people aren't, then that friction starts to create where in a remote setting, if that friction is there, people can drop off, you can still go at your own pace, and you can really make it happen. So it all depends upon the self-awareness of not only you, but also the other people in that creative process, whether it's another producer, mixer, whoever's mastering it, the other band members, everybody involved, whatever's going to work best for you guys in that moment. That's what should be done. But of course, you got to learn what's going to work best for you. And the only way to do that is to try.
Yeah. And I mean, we're still learning to know each other, to be honest. Like, he was here in Norway some years ago. We actually met at a mutual friend's bachelor party. So that's, how we met many years ago. And that's the only time I met him, like, face to face. But of course, we chat a lot. We do these video calls a lot. And also if need be, we use this Lander app where you sort of can create music over like we're talking now, with quite good sound and everything. So but we haven't used it too much. So in general, it works very, very well the way we're doing it now.
And again, that's all the key is, how's it going to work? How are you going to make it work? And as long as you figure it out, that's the key. But you met each other at a mutual friend's bachelor party?
Yeah. So my one of John's best friends, he moved to Norway some years back and married my second cousin, actually.
Okay.
So that's sort of how I got to know John, because we met in this bachelor party. He liked my other band, Extol. We had some nice beers and had a good time, and we went to the wedding, and then didn't see each other again until we picked up the connection like last year. So but we really, like, when we're sitting there in the bachelor party, like, everyone, we're just having fun, and we quite immediately ended up having deep conversations with each other over a couple of beers, and that's always a good sign for me. So it was a good match straight away.
That's always a good thing too. And I think another big thing that also shows an example every musician out there is especially when you get to, you're around people, you never know who might be become a big part in your life. You never might know who becomes part of that journey or who might really connect with you on music. And I mean, the best thing to do is just give it a chance, see what happens. You could meet them at a bachelor party. You could meet them on an Instagram live stream. You could literally meet them at a show because you hit them so hard in the pit that you knocked them down, and then you picked them back up and you hug each other. And at the end of the show, you guys just start talking. And next thing you know, you're in a band together. You never know how this stuff comes together, but being open to the experience can lead you to find someone who you might not like the same music. You might not get into the same music, but if you have a commonality, it's such a big thing you can grow off of. And then you get something like you and John getting together. You get something like InTheosis to be created, and something that both of you can collaborate on, create together, and create something that no expectations are there, and it is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think I'm much that kind of a guy. Like I love being open to people, like just, keeping the door always open. Like, is there anything here? What's our common ground? Where can we meet? Like, at what level can we, when I first meet another person, like at what level can we communicate? And when I meet someone like John, where you sort of immediately go straight down to themes like anxiety and crazy life experiences and religion and stuff like that, and you have a proper good conversation about that, then that's a plus in my book. Then we have a lot in common, and we can build from there.
You guys are going to the deep philosophical questions about life and wondering why we're here. Meantime, everyone else around you is drinking beer and having an absolute blast because someone's about to get married, and that's what we do for bachelor parties. We got to go nuts.
We had fun as well.
I was about to say, you better have fun as well. And I love what you all said about leaving the door open too, because you never know. If you have a connection with someone like that, whether it's, you immediately hit on such a deep piece, or you just end up talking and, you have a commonality there. You never know when later on in life that connection is going to be brought back up once again. And when you have that commonality, you can continue to build, and you're not going to get lost in that. I mean, I've had friends where I've met them, I've known them since I was like 3, 4, 5 years old. And at times, we've completely disconnected just because that's the way life went. And then we've gotten together again, and all of a sudden it's, everyone's happy. I mean, in this month alone, I'm going to 2 weddings. One guy I've known since I was 5, the other guy I've known since I was 3. And it's just like, it's a beautiful thing. And I mean, one guy big into music, and I'm like, okay, I can actually still talk to this guy about stuff. The other guy loves sports and just loves hockey. I'm like, okay, we can talk about that. We still got that connection there. So everything all flows into fruition. And when you keep those doors open, you never know who's going to come back into your life. You never know what kind of positive impact it's going to have, and where that process can go in terms of how you connect with each other. Is it a positive impact? Does it help you out in your life? Is it a creative thing? Is it a business thing? Is it a mindful thing? Honestly, could it just make you a happier person? There's so many possibilities. So it's kind of like, but if you shut the door, then those possibilities are for sure never going to happen.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, life is about fellowship. Like if you ask me what's the meaning of life, fellowship. And seriously, that's my only answer. Like, why are we here on this planet? It is to be together with each other, to share life, to love each other, to share fellowship. And with John, I feel that we have this quite deep connection quite quickly, and which also obviously turns out to become some of the main themes that our music is based upon, lyrically as well. So it's just makes sense.
I'm not going to lie. Whenever I hear people talk about, what the meaning of life is, there's always some very long trot out answer. People always say, I don't know. And then you just come in right away like, oh yeah, this is what I think it is. Boom. And you already have a word for it. But if I think about it, you pretty much are onto something in my mind too, because we have a chance to connect with so many people at just one period of time and see the extraordinary things that as a species, as humans, that we're able to do, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad, but we're all in this experience together, and that shared experience can help make this thing that is life something that is even more incredible than you ever thought it could be. Because if you take those people out of your lives, then your life is completely different, or it is much more bland, it's much more cookie cutter, or much more just uninspiring, because you're not able to have that connection with people. You're not able to grow with people. You're not able to share these life experiences and life itself with so many other people. And when you do share it and they share it back with you, then you just get so much more reward out of life. And by the time, life goes on, by the time you get to that point where, more of your life is in the past and the future and you're reminiscing, you're not thinking about regret. You're thinking about all the memories and all the great times you had and how they inspired you and how they made you the person that you ended up becoming.
Yeah, I think you got it, bro. You articulated it well. It's I don't know how old you are, but I think I've passed my half point. I think I've passed it. So with that also there comes some thoughts and some of course, hopefully I'll live for many years longer, but yeah, I don't think anyone who's laying on their deathbeds think about much else than the people that are important to them in their lives. That's it, There's nothing else. Nothing else matters.
Yeah, at that point, nothing else mattered except the family and the friends that you have and the people that are around you in your life. And I have to agree with you where I don't think I'm at the halfway point yet, or more of my life is behind me than in front of me, because I'll be turning 30 at the end of the year. So right. I think I got plenty. I think I still got plenty of time in front of me. Plus, who knows what happened? I might not have plenty of time in front of me. But if something were to happen where all of a sudden my life ends, right at this moment, and if I look back and think about all the people I met, all the, positive impact I had on people, how they've impacted me, did I make life to the fullest? I went through some times where maybe I didn't make life in the fullest. But over, I'd say, the past 12 years, absolutely, I've made life as full as I possibly can. And I don't, it's like, I look back and there are moments where I'm like, I wish I would have done that different, but if I would have done that different, then I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So yeah. I don't regret, and it's like the things that I really wanted to go after, I went after. So I don't regret not trying and wondering what if. I think about what was, and I'm like, this is fun, but I think about the what ifs of what if this could happen in the future. And if it does happen, how am I going to get to that point? So it's a beautiful thing. And man, I'm just thinking, I'm like, man, this is, how much more of life can I share with people, even with all the time I have left? And how much more of life can you share with people with all the time you have left? And you get to do it through music too, and a creative outlet, which is even cooler.
Yeah. I mean, everything you do, to me, I can only talk for myself, but to me, whatever you achieve, whatever you do, whatever your goals are, if I can't share it with other people, what's the point, So again, I'm just coming back to fellowship. I want my life to be filled with meaningful, loving, challenging fellowships that can teach me something and that can give me something, but obviously that I can give something to the people around me. And whether that's through music or through, anything else, my kids and my wife and my family and my friends, that's what it's all about to me.
Well, I mean, you've been able to do that with, your family for your whole entire life, for your wife as long as you know and her, for your kids as long as they've been born. And when it comes to your music as well, especially with how long you've been in music, you've been able to deliver that fellowship and connection through music for over 2/3 of your life at this point. So yeah, there's not many people that can say that, man. There's not many people that can even come close to that.
It's so strange to look back. I started Extol when I was 14 together with my brother and my cousin. And still to this day, music that we wrote in 96, people will still to this day come and tell me, that song meant something to them, or they got inspired or whatever. And that's mind blowing. That's wow, insane.
That is absolutely insane, but it's also a beautiful thing too, where again, those songs are almost 30 years old and they were impacting people back then. They're still impacting people today. That's a connection. That's a shared life experience that you're able to create. Yep. And again, it all goes back to that word, fellowship.
Yeah, man. That's what it's all about.
Okay, did we, I'm saying, because we guys got in some deep thinking stuff, were we at some sort of bachelor party in some sort of moment in time, drinking and talking about this stuff like you and John? Because we're just getting deep with all this stuff right now, and I'm loving it.
Me too. Love it, man.
But of course,
I mean, it's not so often. It's not so often that you do interviews like this, and it's you're able to get into that because it's like usually like a bunch of questions, and it's a little bit superficial. But yeah, I like this.
Oh, I absolutely love this too. And one other thing now, I got to jump into this because, of course, with InTheosis, you got the music out there too. But I know you said a lot of this and a lot of the themes around this idea really come into your music with songs like Mysterial and, of course, Purge. So when it comes to these ideas, how did you put them into the music and the songs that you have with the InTheosis so that they really amplify your overall thought process, your overall belief on this? And then again, creating those shared experiences and giving to the world with this brand new thing without any expectations in terms of sound.
Yeah, I think it's a hard question to answer, but at least for me, when I make music and when I make lyrics, it's really important to me that that I say something of importance. I want to say something of importance. And my life has been full of quite shitty times. Like I've had a lot of anxiety. I've had a lot of physical pains. Yeah, it's been rough sometimes. And I know that so many other people, like most people, experience anxiety, sometimes during their life, and other more than others. So to me, writing about themes like anxiety, for example, with Mysteria, it's really important. Mostly to I guess to normalize it, because still in 2024, people are not used to talking about anxiety. Men especially often, like especially young men, you want to be strong, you want to be looked at as a strong person. But I think young men are probably most vulnerable sometimes, because there are so many expectations, and you got to live up to a lot, man, and that can be rough sometimes. And if you then have had maybe some hard family, like tough upbringing, or parents that maybe didn't weren't there for you or whatever, it's it can be rough. So we just wanted to be honest and real with life when we write lyrics. At least I do, and John as well. But also setting this into a context where we sort of somehow rely on something else out there. I was born and raised a Christian, a quite conservative Christian back in the days. But I've spent many years now, for the past 15 years, sort of deconstructing a lot of those kind of beliefs. But I still think there's something out there, but I'm not sure how to articulate it now. As I did before, I had all the right answers and everything. Now I don't have any answers. I just have questions. But I still, think that there's something out there, and that we can share this love with each other somehow. Yeah.
I gotta say, I think that's a beautiful answer, because there's a couple of pieces I really want to dive into. One is when you said that, when you're making your music and you write the lyrics for it, you want to be able to say something and really bring that authenticity and experience to it, especially from what you felt or what you've believed in the past. Just because when we think about music and we think about the music that, sometimes people enjoy and can get into and just kind of dance around and vibe around to, there's a certain sound, there's certain pieces around there that cause certain, things in our brain, certain endorphins to rush, so that we get that positive feeling and we just want to move with it, or, we get deep, dark, sad, whatever it might be. But the songs that really hit people and the songs that have so much staying power, and this is not just rock and metal either, this is every single genre, it's when the lyrics and everything comes from such an emotionally connected personal place. because now it's real. Now you're saying something and you're actually putting so much believability behind the lyrics, behind the vocals, and the instrumentals that are going to amplify that overall sound to connect with our emotions and experience, where we can feel it in our own lives and we can feel it for generations to come. The biggest songs in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and today absolutely hit on that, and it doesn't matter what genre you're in. So having something to say and having, a believability behind it because it's authentic is something that is incredibly important to go after. And even if, you're thinking about what is beyond there and having that mysticism added to it to really open up more questions, it's a beautiful thing. And it comes from a genuine place too, from you, when you're talking about growing up in a Christian household and then spending the last 15 years deconstructing that, because I have a very similar experience. I grew up in a Christian household. I went to Catholic school, went to Catholic high school, and that's when I started to ask a bunch of different questions. And the questions that came up, or the answers that came up, were, you have to believe this. It was like, you're forced to do this. This is what this says. And there was never ability to question it. And when you start to deconstruct some of these things, you see that, you have these questions, they pop up, and you see where some of the faults lie in it. And sometimes, even if you are religious, I'll be honest with you, if you look at your religious text, sometimes there's a lot of faults in those pieces, but could those faults be based on the interpretation of who wrote it? Because we're all human. It's possible.
Yeah,
it's very possible.
Sure.
So when you're wondering, you're thinking there still might be something out there, that's very possible. You might end up believing in the same overall, what is out there, what is beyond there, as a lot of other people do, but it's just the specifics and how we get there might be completely different. And as long as that doesn't divide us and we can enjoy this experience in life together, then we have such a much more vast array of fellowship and connectivity and make this life even better. Holy shit, how did we make that whole turn all the way back to that? We just keep coming back to that fellowship theme.
No, but seriously, that was the main thing that made me starting deconstructing, because my upbringing told me, my faith told me that people are either inside or outside. And if you're outside, well, we can't share proper fellowship somehow. And I didn't want to believe that, because again, the meaning of life is fellowship. And if I'm going to sort of like, okay, I have to exclude you because you believe something different, that's a kind of God I don't believe in.
Not even,
so, yeah.
I'll say not even the type of God, but like, take a look at what's going on in the world when it comes to anything, when it comes to things on social media, when it comes to topics on music, when it comes to political affiliations. There's so much separation there. And it's like, if you don't believe in this exact same thing, then I can't associate with you. I have to distance myself from you. And you're breaking that connectivity, you're breaking that fellowship, and you're breaking the beauty that can be coming from somebody connecting with them if they have a different opinion, because you can talk, you can debate, you can have constructive conversations around this stuff, ask these questions, and then really create something that could be even bigger than you ever thought it was potentially going to be. You can ask these questions, you can talk about these things, and you can connect on that even if you don't agree, because now you're having the ability to connect, even if you don't have a commonality. You create that commonality, you create that shared experience, and you have that beautiful fellowship, because I can attest to the exact same thing, especially in with that religion. It was, you're either in or you're out. And I still remember when I met a friend who's originally from Thailand, immigrated over to the United States, and he invited me, he's Muslim, and he invited me over to take a part of their Ramadan ceremony. And one night, and I'm like, okay, I'll go. And I'm like, I just don't want to offend anybody because I don't know what I'm doing. I just don't want to make any wrong moves. And they're like, oh no, just do this, just follow along with us. Okay, I'm going with the flow. And it was very welcoming. I'm like, that's the kind of fellowship we need. We just need to have this feeling where we might believe different things. We might connect in different ways. We might think different ways. But if we can find that commonality, or just even from we're apart, have the commonality of being able to discuss and talk and debate, now we create that connectivity. Now we create that fellowship, and we can build off of that.
Or just the commonality of being human beings.
Yes.
Like, if that's not enough, like, then we're screwed. Like, if we can't respect each other, simply because we are human beings, then, we're kind of doomed.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, this world is proving right now. So many terrible things are happening because we don't respect each other, and we don't see, like, I have this, when I look at humanity, I have this one phrase, where everyone is in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is in the same boat. Like, that's my way of seeing human beings. And if you start, seeing that differently, like, okay, these kind of people are in that boat, and this kind of, then that's a dangerous way to go, because then you don't have the same sort of respect and fundamental understanding of who we are. So yeah.
Well, because
Yeah,
we
sorry.
think, oh no, it's fine. Because we think about, we're in the same boat. It's, you think about the vastness of the universe and how much more is out there in the galaxy and how much more is yet to be discovered, explored. And, we haven't even come into contact with any kind of extraterrestrial life, which we can assume is out there. But if you think about the vastness of it, and it's like, okay, we're all in this one big boat. In terms of the universe, we're all in this one incredibly small boat that is humanity on planet Earth. And the more we try and divide that, now we're just getting so small and minute that it's just not being able to capitalize out on this experience that we have in this small little tiny sliver that is the universe that we exist in.
The tiny, tiny, tiny blue dots, and we're just specks of dust on that tiny, tiny, tiny blue dots.
Now you got me thinking about the pale blue dot photo, and and I'm like, man, we're just getting into all this crazy stuff. But I give you to go into the music too, because listening through your song Purge, it does really speak to this whole entire connectivity part from what I got from it. Because I'm listening through it, I'm really trying to pick up on the overall idea, themes, meanings, because I always love to do that stuff. And what I got out of it was, it's like, we take a look over the course of our lives. There are so many different influences that come in and kind of change us from that connectivity point, the fellowship point, from the person that we absolutely want to be. Whether it's things from media, politics, religion, our family, friends, there's so many things that are coming through to us, and they can't influence us, especially if we're around them all the time. And it changes and distorts us from what that true self really is and what that true calling in life for ourselves really is. So what we must do is reflect and find a way to purge those influences in order to become the best version of ourselves, the happiest version of ourselves, and be able to connect and have that fellowship and create that shared experience. It's never an easy do, hence having to pass through fire as the visual to purge that. But trust me, it is well worth it when you get to the other side.
I like the analysis. Great job.
Put it on a press release, baby.
It's a good way to see it. Like for me, I'm thinking of this purging like just life happening. It's like the process, like I'm talking about in the first verse, like the process of creating a diamond. It's like just intense pressure, year after year after year after year after year, and then that sort of becomes a diamond in the end. Which is also, sorry, I'm Norwegian, so English is not my first language. So
you're doing fine, Peter. No worries.
I feel so terrible sometimes, but I'll try my best. But yeah, anyway, I think to me these lyrics are about basically going through life and having your motivations, and also like you say, like everything around just being purged in the fire to sort of come out as your true self, I guess, and to find your true place in your life, to find your own true place in your own life. Again, coming back to me having sort of reached my peak, and I'm going, but I mean, the older I get, the more I understand where I am in life, where's my position in life, in my own life. Because when I was younger, like my ambitions, my energy, my I don't know, it would take me sort of in directions where I maybe shouldn't go, but I still went. But the older I get, I sort of feel more and more connected to myself and my roots, uh, even though life has taken me everywhere. It sort of like narrows down somehow, um, and finding that diamond, I guess, inside which is truly me, where I feel I am whole, or yeah. Not that I feel that all the
Yeah.
time, but I mean, yeah, I think you understand what I mean, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, because even as we go further beyond and really go and wrap ourselves around with all these experiences that we've had in life, maybe when we were younger too, and life was pulling us in different directions and we explored those, and maybe those weren't the right things to go on to really hit on what our true self is. But maybe we had to go through those experiences because we take the pressure of the negative and find where the positives are in there, like finding a diamond in the rough, and figure out, okay, yeah, some of these experiences did not go the way we want them to. Yes, some of these experiences impacted us in a negative way, but those experiences taught us something or showed us something about ourselves, and we'll take the positives and focus in on those. We'll learn from the negatives, and under that pressure creates that diamond where we really find where our true self is. And the even further beauty about it is we're still going to have those experiences that we go through life. Even as we get older and we find that more centerpiece of really who we are, we're still going to have different challenges. We're going to have different experiences. Whether you're, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, life changes. Your perception changes. Your abilities change. What your wants change. So as that happens, you start to see exactly how these experiences got you to where you are, how the experiences created you, and really get even further deeply in within that. It is like I'm even more into this song now just thinking about that compared to when I was before we even started this call.
Nice, yeah, yeah. For a guy being 30 years old, you are very wise, and you express things in a very good way. So yeah, you said it well.
I'm gonna take that as my win for the day, and I'm gonna run around the house later going woo. Well, after this, and then I've got I think two more calls after this too. So it's gonna be even more fun to be like, okay, well, what are we doing today? We're diving deep once again. It's like once again, oh yeah, we're doing it.
Nice.
And what's even crazier too is beyond that is even as you go deep into these things, you go deep in these ideas, that especially starting out and finding this sound that you have with InTheosis from just from the beginning and really creating it and showing to the world, you're getting so much love from places like Lambgo, Brave Words, New Noise Magazine, Outburn Magazine. So there's a lot of people that are getting in on the band early and really getting behind the message, getting behind the lyrics, behind the sound, and really feeling it. So whatever you were trying to achieve with this music, especially from the get-go, I mean, it's clear you're absolutely doing it. We just need more people to hear
it. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, I mean, I'm so stoked to see this outlets picking things up, and yeah, I really appreciate that. So yeah, but as you say, we just this is in the start, so we just got to build slowly but surely, and hopefully be able to share this vision of ours, this music of ours with as many people as we can. And like people like you having us on is we're so thankful for that. Yeah.
Oh, well, it has absolutely been my pleasure to have you on. I mean, we got deep as all hell, but even getting further on and connect with that fellowship and looking at the bigger picture, I know right now you only have 2 songs out right now. I know there's plenty more yet to come, but Peter, you got to tell me what else is coming up for you guys. What else is coming up for InTheosis?
Some surprises, that's for sure. Next song, I don't know if I should say much about it, but it's going to be a surprise. It's going to some metal fans will probably choke on their morning coffee when they hear it, and some will love it. So I won't say any more than that. But it's a direction we're going to go on a couple of the songs on the album. So we're writing songs for a complete album, which will be released mid 2025, and we're going to release singles. I don't know how many yet, but probably five-ish singles before the album. And some of the songs will be super catchy, hard-hitting, like Purged. Some of them will be a little bit more progressive, like Mysteria, even a little bit more progressive than that. And some of them will have some nice surprises.
Well, I mean, you're saying nice surprise, especially the next one. Either some metal fans are going to love it and some are going to choke on their morning coffee. My question is are they going to be choke on their morning coffee like just out of surprise, or choke on their morning coffee because they were not expecting it to hit that hard and they feel like they got to get up and start moshing in the middle of their kitchen and maybe throwing chairs around? Hopefully their wives don't get too mad or their husbands don't get too mad at the destruction that's about to happen. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. What we feel it hits hard, but I think someone might not like it. I don't know. Let's see.
But then again, all great music, and especially the ones that the songs that have hit, the musicians that have hit, the bands that have hit, especially when they came out with something, it always seemed to have those people that absolutely loved it from the beginning and those people that choked on their morning coffee right from the get-go.
Yeah,
but then as time goes on, it's the people that love it still love it, and the people that choked on that coffee take the time and realize how impactful and how powerful it truly was.
Yeah, I honestly, to me, that song we're releasing next, it's a great song. If I'm, yeah, in my opinion, it has some depth. It has some really, really sick riffs. It has some insane atmosphere. And it's we're bringing on a guy, a feature that's gonna he's tearing it down. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Well, now it's like who's the feature? And I mean, I know you're not going to tell me who the feature is to spoil it, but I'm thinking, I could come up with someone that's like, okay, let's go incredibly narrow. Maybe you somehow got the guy from Paleface Swiss to end up joining in and going absolutely nuts on it. Maybe you somehow got James Hetfield to agree to be a feature on it. Maybe you got Vessel from Sleep Token to do his first feature ever. I don't know. I'm just taking shots in the dark here. I mean, if it was Vessel, you'd probably get everyone to go absolutely nuts. All of a sudden, it's like InTheosis featuring Vessel and Noah Sebastian from Bad Omens, with a small little part here from Ollie Sykes of Bring Me the Horizon, and then the outro by James Hetfield. Like, there's so many possibilities. I don't know, but I'm just throwing things out there because if one of them happens to be right, I'm going to laugh and be like, I called it. I know I'm probably not right, but I hope I am.
My lips are sealed.
Oh man, well, we're just gonna have to wait for that. And I know you said that you're working on songs, probably about 5 singles ish, most likely come out before an album in 2025, mid 2025. So I can already say this about that album. I'm ready to listen to it, and I'm ready to have you back on here when it's ready to talk all about it.
Awesome, I'd love to, and let's bring John on as well. I mean,
I am in for that.
Yeah, and he speaks much better English than I do, obviously.
Well, what's going to be fun about that one is John in Australia, you're in Norway, I'm in the United States. Finding a time that we're going to be able to do this all together is going to be fun.
Actually, right now, it's probably the best time because I think he has just woken up. So so like this time is probably a good time.
We'll figure it out. I don't know how we'll figure it out, but we'll figure it out. All right, Peter, I got one more question before we wrap this up. It's something I love to ask every single artist I bring on the podcast. I've done this for over a year now because it allows us to get to know more new music as music fans and allows you to get to hype up new music that you absolutely love. So, Peter, can you name me 3 bands that you absolutely love that you would love to see more people get into?
Yeah. Okay. So, stuff that I listen to these days. I have a friend in the US called Jesse Zuretti. He makes some insane stuff. So please, I won't say more. Just check out Jesse Zuretti with a Z. And there is a Norwegian hip hop act, a rapper, really, really epic technical rapper called Damien. Check out him. He is like the most punk metal guy I know, but he raps like he spits like he's the Norwegian Eminem. But he also, I mean, he does a lot of different stuff like orchestrals and like everything, but also has like awesome guitars. check him out. He's really, really good. Damien. And then the last one that I've listened to this last weeks, Vola, Vola, Vola. Great modern metal act, Scandinavian guys. Yeah.
I love the picks, and I love the differentiation in overall variety as well when it comes to genres, because I always hear rock and metal artists. I hear some people throwing some different things in there, and I absolutely love it too, because you never know. Sometimes those are big influences, or sometimes people that you like of doing something completely different. Gives us a brand new thing to listen to and to get into, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I mean, I've always been like that. My musical influences is all over the place. So yeah, I appreciate that in life.
Oh, I do too. And Peter, I'm going to end up closing out this podcast specifically with 3 things, because this is going to be a great 3 things. First things first, when it comes to InTheosis, when it comes to listening to the brand new singles and being in the know with the band as more singles come out and as the album comes out sometime in 2025, be sure to go to the description of the podcast below where it says find InTheosis online. Links levels are going to be down there for you for everything, so you don't have a chance to miss out on it. I'm doing all the research for you. You don't have to search up anything. I got you covered. So go to the description of the podcast and find InTheosis online. It's all going to be down there. Now it's time for number 2. Peter, whenever I guest on the podcast and join the podcast, I tend to make a certain promise as a way to say thank you for being on the podcast, and I wish to continue to support the band in the future. And unfortunately, this won't happen at a bachelor party, but I feel like this is going to happen at some point soon. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. That implies this is going to happen. We just do not know a day or time yet. But when I get to see you perform live for the first time, I will find you. I will come and say hi. But the most important thing is, first round's on me.
Cheers.
Yes.
I'll do the rest then.
Okay, fine. And we'll just start talking about deep things when it comes to life.
Sounds great.
Fellowship, everything around there. We got this covered.
Awesome.
And now it's time for number 3. Peter, I cannot end this podcast by saying goodbye. This has been an incredible time, and I would love to have you back on the podcast again in the future. When the new album is ready to come out, we can talk all about it. We can get more people into it. Beyond that as well, man, I made you a promise, and I'm making good on that promise. So, Peter, this is not goodbye in any sense of the word. This is, I'll see you later.
See you later, bro. Thanks for having me.
Well, folks, I've interviewed with Peter from the band InTheosis. Now it's time for Kevin's final thought. Final thought today is, how do we get to talk about the meaning of life, and how do we get to talk about fellowship? How do we get to that point in time, and why does this all make sense? So I can't believe we got down that road, though. I mean, when he talked about how he met John, and him and John just went deep into conversation, and that's how they became friends, as they got to know each other, I was like, that's absolutely awesome. Hopefully we may be able to get into some of that. But when Peter brought up the meaning of life and talked about how he sees it as fellowship, and we really dove deep into it, this is why people have connected with each other for so many years. This is why your shared experiences with your family and friends are things that last forever and things that make you the happiest. Sure, doing things yourself is fun, but when you share those experiences with other people and they amplify it to the umpteenth degree, it makes it just even better. It makes it a lot more fun. It makes life just so much more enjoyable. I mean, he had me thinking about like all the friends I've made, not only through music and doing this, and the people that we've been able to connect with through the podcast, bands and fans alike, but my friends, family, and everyone else I've come in contact with. Like, this is an incredible thing, and life would not be as fun or as enjoyable without them. And whether, you know, maybe you're alone right now, but you have an ability to connect to other people through music or something that is commonality, just the human experience. It's a beautiful thing. And InTheosis is showing you that with their music. Peter amplifies that with his music, being a musician for over 2/3 of his life, connecting with people that way, creating that fellowship. And I am 100% into it. So I want to thank Peter for being on the podcast. Be sure to stay in the know with InTheosis. Go to the description of the podcast below where it says find InTheosis online. Links, levels for everything are there. Do not miss it. Be sure to hit subscribe to the Chord Progression Podcast right down here. New episodes every single Tuesday and Thursday. If you're on Spotify or Podcast, hit the follow button. Be sure to like this episode to help push it in the algorithm and get more people to know about the Chord Progression Podcast and these great new bands as well. Beyond that, I want to thank Peter once again. This was a fantastic time, and we'll do it again when the album comes out mid-2025. On that note, that's going to be it for me, everybody. Thank you for watching, listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes. Big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah!